in the Cabinet room with Ian. I and Colin Powell was actually ushered outside just before the meeting started. But it must be said that the Chief Minister did, and I know this because I spoke to other people that were there, did an absolutely great job in actually defending Jersey around the Cabinet table at number 10. Of course, a great deal of work went in to prepare for Saturday. There's been literally months of work from within the Chief Minister's office, external affairs, the Treasury, dealing of course with the tax matters, and of course we've been working closely with Jersey Finance. Our aim was, in advance of the meeting at number 10, to ensure that the international community and the members of the G8 had a better understanding about what Jersey does and what it doesn't do. We've seen a huge amount of press coverage in the run-up to the G8. But as I stand before you today, despite the detractors, and we've seen the stories about banana trade, and we've seen all the negative publicity that so-called tax centres, tax havens have had, I think that we can say we are now today well on the way of explaining more accurately what Jersey does. The unprecedented airtime that the Chief Minister and I fortunately was able to achieve outside the front door of number 10, I think represents an important turning point. We were busy within number 10 trying to organise things and our Chief Minister meeting with David Cameron. It was only later on during the day that we realised that we'd actually managed to achieve almost saturation point across all UK networks and radio networks during the day. Jersey was the only jurisdiction that was quoted alongside what David Cameron had to say on that tax agenda. And I think that taken together with last week's Economist article that again accurately stated Jersey's position on beneficial ownership, and yesterday the FT, I think that we're getting the message across. We said outside on the steps of number 10, Jersey is not a tax haven. We are not the problem. In fact, we are part of the solution. Our experience as a small jurisdiction is being used, and we believe can be used even more in future to help those jurisdictions that do not have the same level of transparency as we do in Jersey. And over the last few days, we've been making further approaches to other global institutions from around the world. We've been in contact with the African Tax Administration Forum. We've been building on our good contacts within the OECD and the EU with now our office in Brussels. And we're offering to provide technical assistance to other countries so that they can meet the standards that have been applied in Jersey over the last more than 20 or 30 years. That action plan that I referred to, which has been published literally within the last few minutes, has got 7 steps in it for Jersey. And those are designed to strengthen further, to reinforce our position. And those are actually set out on the screen. You'll be able to read them later. I'm sure that any of you who are members of the financial services sector will see nothing much, frankly, new in the Jersey plan. We're already doing much of what David Cameron is seeking to achieve. What I would say is in terms of the, and there's a front page story on the JEP today, which is actually this issue of a public register. I'm pleased to say that there is absolutely nothing in the action plan on that issue of a public register. That is in nothing of any of the action plans which we have seen so far. It's certainly an aspiration of some politicians, but it is not in our plan. A number of islanders, and indeed the media, have asked why all of this matters. Why does this G8 and all this communication that we've been trying so hard to engage in, why does this matter? My sense is that there was an increasing view in Jersey over recent months that perhaps our financial services sector was at risk, even that it could decline. We in Jersey have faced up to some very difficult, and it is fair to say, some very difficult political challenges outside of Jersey. This means, in my opinion, and I know that this view is shared very strongly by the Chief Minister, that we are the undisputed leader of the offshore world. a very senior journalist that we spoke to last week, said he understood that we actually weren't the problem. He described Jersey as the head prefect of the offshore world, and I thought that was quite an interesting thing, and that had obviously come from some sort of press briefing somewhere. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we in Jersey are now ready to reap the benefits of what has been achieved, not by government, but by those of you in the audience that are part of the financial services industry. Whilst other countries, and I'm going to go on to talk about public finances, are concentrating on deficits and their mountains of debt, we in Jersey can put in place strategies for growth. I was at the House of Commons preparing for the G8 on Thursday, and I heard some of what the Canadian Prime Minister had to say at the joint session of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. He explained the importance of tax competition, almost in exactly the same terms as the letter that David Cameron sent to the Chief Minister. David Cameron and Harper's agenda is delivering economic growth. They're talking about growth being delivered on the basis of low tax and tax competition. And these are very positive statements, I think, for reflecting Jersey about what we do. In a world where the G8 this afternoon is going to go on to talk about global trade, and given the certainty of a step up in terms of the scale of global trade, more trade from North America to Europe is under discussion. Increased trade, of course, from the growing Asia market to the EU. Trade from China to Africa and vice versa, from Latin America to the developed and the developing world. We in Jersey, as a highly regarded finance centre, have the ability to act as a facilitator for this global trade, as a tax-neutral conduit for business. Our expertise in banking, funds, wealth management means instead of the fear of decline, which many people have begun to believe, perhaps because they've heard it so much in the last few months, we should be focusing on the significant opportunities that increased global trade actually presents ourselves. And your government is focused absolutely on maximising that potential. The Jersey Finance McKinsey Review, which is now being actively deployed, we're doing it, sets out a clear strategy for banking, trusts and funds. And this is entirely complementary